Today, I will be talking about the collegiate style of dancing from the late 20s to the early 30s. I'm Walter Nelson, and this is the Dance History Picture Show. So, what do I mean by collegiate dancing? It often happens in discussing the dance of the early 20th century that terminology can be a bit fuzzy. What we call a thing today is not what it was back then. And when you start to get adjacent to the swing era, the swing community, with its highly developed vocabulary and taxonomies, will see parallels in their own areas and feel the urge to apply labels that might not have applied at that particular moment that the dance was being invented. It may or may not have been used by the people in question. I've chosen the term collegiate because I have seen it used at the time to describe the hot mess of dance moves being practiced by the younger crowd at the end of the 1920s. Lillian Ray, in her Modern Ballroom Dancing from 1930, has a complete chapter on it, and she calls it collegiate. However, I do this in the full knowledge that other terms might also have been current with the people doing the dancing. And in fact, the practitioners might not have even felt the need to slap a label on what they were doing. As I said, the dances of the young in the post-Charleston era were a hot mess. There was a lot of stomping and kicking and fast-footed steps going on. And there seems to have been an endless parade of novelty steps or Hoosier hops and raccoons or whatever else. A lot of these dances seem to be of a pattern of we're dancing, now let's stop dancing and do a kick or a stomp to one side and then turn to the other side, do that kick or a stomp again. And now let's dance some more. Interestingly enough, though, while most of the time with my examinations of historical dance of the early 20th century, I have a nice mix of theatrical content, examples from Hollywood movies or exhibition dancers, along with real people in newsreels or home movies doing the dances, a kind of a leavening of what might have been more common among the general public. I don't have that for this period, which is an interesting anomaly. All I've got for collegiate dancing is theatrical. It's from movies. It's a little bit of exhibition dancers. And I suspect in a lot of cases, it's not really correctly depicting how regular kids were dancing. Other cases, I think it really is. But there are some consistent patterns that I think are useful to look at. And I think that if you are recreating the dances of the time, the specifics are really not as important as the general styling, because I don't think they had arrived at an orthodoxy yet. I think it was all just being invented on the spot. And there was a certain coolness factor in, inventing a new step and saying, hey, kids, let's all do this now. That kind of chaos is reflected in a lot of these clips, which, as I said, some of them I don't think are very reflective of actual dancing. I mean, especially the ones where everyone is dancing in unison. I'm not sure that really happened much. But I think as I said, the general patterns are fairly reflective of what was going on with a particular class of dancers, a particular age group, whereas it may not, in fact, have been something being danced by the broader population, and in fact, probably a lot of kids in less sophisticated areas were not doing this at all. But it's difficult to know. Anyway, let's look at some dancing. Okay, we are going to begin with a clip from Coquette, 1929 Mary Pickford film. I really love this first dance scene because it is a hot mess, because it is chaotic and not terribly impressive in terms of the dancing skills of the people involved. And I think it probably reflects what you might have seen among a lot of kids at the end of the 20s. So this is, as I said, an example of what I think was really happening. As you can see, the pattern is really, they're doing a foxtrot in the 1920s sense of it, as a very unstructured partner dance moving to the music. And then they throw in some crazy random leaps and stomps and other steps. The next one is from a movie called Dance Hall. And unfortunately, being an early talkie, the sound is really bad. And you may not actually be able to pick out what's going on. So just watch what they're doing and watch, especially in the dance hall scene, there's some couples that are not the focus of attention, but they are doing some very interesting moves that are similar to what you would be seeing in later shag. Okay. The next one is a Fox movie tone. It's a couple of exhibition dancers. And so, of course, what they're doing is going to be a little more than you would likely see in a usual dance floor. However, I strongly suggest that if you're interested in bringing the late 20s style of dance to the modern dance floor, you could learn a few moves from these guys.
The new long skirts that women are wearing today have already influenced ballroom dancing. A season or two ago, when the skirts were above the knee, the dances were free and wild, something like this. All right, Jane, love, this is our dance.
Okay, and that stopping the dance, leaning over and pointing at each other apparently was a thing. Also, you could substitute a stomp for that kick, and it would be yet another frequent pattern in the late 20s, early 30s style of youth dancing. So the next one is actually a chorus girl production number from It's a Great Life, 1929, early Technicolor. And they're doing the Hoosier Hop, which much of this is clearly production number, but the thing that the two girls are doing does actually look like a genuine collegiate dance. And it is, as I said earlier, it has this pattern that you see repeated in a lot of other dances. So I have included the section that is the two girls dancing what appears to be a collegiate style dance. And the next one I really like. It's from a film called So This Is College from 1929. And the dance is the Campus Capers. And it is done with a lot of enthusiasm and not a lot of grace. And it strikes me as a very plausible sort of dance that kids might actually have done in 1929. So here we go, the Campus Capers.
On to the Campus Capers, get you in the paper. Park your hands on this hard, start rolling around. Hug it tighter than a bear would, rock around him like a bear could. Let these flappers fly fast, better flow to the ground. And they gotta get that justice and throw it right in high. Then you go get what, go get 235, 255. Do the Campus Capers, see it in paper, telling goofy goofy gathered on the campus today.
This next one is actually from a newsreel, but the dancers are more athletic than I think most dancers, but it does give a sense of what really fit and enthusiastic teenagers could get up to. Okay. Not recommended on a crowded dance floor, that last move. So the next one comes from Why Be Good, 1929. I have used the music that accompanied my DVD of this because it matches. One of the interesting things is it's referred to as a Charleston contest, and it suggests that in 1929 the term Charleston was still being used as a generic term for any kind of wild youthful dance, even if it bore no resemblance to the Charleston of just 3 years before. Anyway, here we go. It's couples and a lot of fast-footedness. It's less of the stomps that we've been seeing in others, and it's more shag-like. Though I don't believe the term shag was around quite yet. I might be wrong, but I have not seen it used as early as 1929. Needless to say, the dancers were being significantly sped up. No one can dance that fast, and the fact that everyone in the background is clapping faster than is natural would be an indicator that that was not the real tempo. Okay, the next one, we are heading over to Harlem. This is kind of to address the folks that seem to think that the 1930s Lindy Hop that they've learned is something that can be transposed back into the 1920s unchanged. These are the people who invented the Lindy Hop, and they're dancing something that isn't quite the Lindy Hop. This is from a short film from 1929 called After Seven. The film itself has little to recommend it. It's most of it takes place in a crap game, and the focus is a blackface comedian whom you will see being the MC in this. But fortunately, he's eminently forgettable, while the dancers themselves, including Shorty George, passed off as Shorty Stubbs, are quite memorable. And this was a wonderful moment in time where filmmakers captured the dancers of the Savoy Ballroom when they were young and when they were just figuring it out.
Couple number 2, Mr. Oliver Hemingway and Buzzsaw Mamie. Couple number 3, Shorty Stump and Liza Underdunk.
So this falls into I think a similar pattern to the dancers in the Charleston contest, and also to the background dancers in the earlier dance hall scene with the terrible sound. There seems to be two parallel schools of dance at the moment, around 1929, 1930. The one is the I'm dancing the foxtrot and then I do stuff, I kick or I stomp, and then I dance the foxtrot some more. And then there's the fast-footed ones like this and the previous, where the couples are doing a more continuous flow. And it, as I said, usually involves some very fast-footed footwork. Anyway, this next one is from 1930, Dancing Sweeties. This is a dance called the Halabaloo. And of course, there's no telling whether or not this dance, the Halabaloo, existed independently of this movie. Good possibility it did not. However, it does, I'm sure, reflect trends in popular dance around 1930. This is one of those where people are more or less doing the same dance, but the fact that they are not all really synchronized and it's kind of messy leads me to believe that it probably is a reflection of what might have happened when, you know, people were all trying to dance together. And it's not like that hasn't happened at other times in dance history. And we have the Lambeth Walk, we have the chicken dance and the hustle and the lambada. You know, there are a lot of dances where people are all more or less moving together, and you know, country and western line dancing. So I don't think it's implausible that that people were all trying to do more or less the same dance. This, of course, is more along the lines of dance, 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 stop, turn to the left, stomp, turn to the right, stomp kind of dance. Anyway, it also has some nice close-ups of footwork.
All right, folks, all right. The next dance is going to be a contest dance for these beautiful silver loving cups. Get together with your partners. All right, boys, hit it, let it go. boy, what kind of a new dance is that?
Why, that's the Halabaloo. Hot stuff, ain't it?
You said it.
So this brings us to the end of my fairly thin collection of dances of the collegiate era, the end of the 20s, the early 30s, the time after the Charleston and the Black Bottom, but before the swing era really kicked in. It is a period of transition, but of course, it wasn't regarded as such at the time. You know, every dance was at the moment of its creation, it was full and complete. It wasn't simply a stepping stone towards the destination of Lindy Hop or something like that. For those who might be interested in trying to recreate this style of dance, you could certainly look at these old movies and take stock of their moves, or you could get modern ballroom dancing and by Lillian Ray and do what she has in her chapter, which, by the way, I have reproduced on walternelson.com. Or you could just pick out the moves you think are fun that you have seen in these films and just throw those in randomly. You could you're doing your walking foxtrot, and then decide, okay, it's time to stomp to the left, and now it's time to stomp to the right. Or, hey, it's time to get into promenade position, except we'll kick. Basically, you can do most anything, and especially like that first bit from Coquette, where people are, just bouncing up and down and doing it's madness, it's chaos out there. I think that's probably a good way to go. Anyway, that is the collegiate style of dance, for lack of a better name, and I will see you next time.